It's a really stunning night in politics when you're talking about a competitive race in a state like Alabama, but we're actually talking about a Democrat winning in the state of Alabama. This has been unheard of for the last quarter century, and Doug Jones was kind of the perfect candidate for a really imperfect, unusual moment.
I have always believed that the people of Alabama had more in common than to divide us.
Roy Moore has won statewide in Alabama before, but he's very controversial. And he was made even more controversial by the fact that he was saddled with these allegations of sexual misconduct with teenagers that really dominated the last couple of weeks of the campaign and allowed Doug Jones to slip in there and win a seat that, frankly, very few people, probably including Doug Jones, actually thought that he could pull off. And the ramifications of this really will ripple across the political spectrum. For President Trump, he is the most prominent supporter that Roy Moore had.
This guy's screaming, "We want Roy Moore." He's right.
Particularly after these sexual misconduct allegations came out. He was tweeting about him. Trump's Twitter account is one of his most powerful political weapons. On Election Day, he was urging people in Alabama to go out and vote Roy Moore, put him in the U.S. Senate.
Hi, this is President Donald Trump, and I need Alabama to go vote for Roy Moore.
There were very few Republicans in Washington, short of Donald Trump himself, who actually wanted Roy Moore to be in the U.S. Senate. He was never going to be a sure vote for Republicans on their agenda. He was going to be constantly making controversial comments that other Republicans were going to be asked about, asked to defend, or asked to rebuke.
Well, I'm coming to the Senate, and we'll work out our problems there.
At the same time, a Republican senator would have been a likely vote on things like tax reform, on the Republican position on a government shutdown, potentially on infrastructure, which is what Republicans want to get to next on their agenda. If they can get Doug Jones to vote with Republicans a couple of times and coming out of Alabama, he may have to do that for his own political future. That could soften the blow a bit. You're already seeing the Democrats and the Republicans sort of trying to pull Jones in different directions right now because of his own unique political position. But I think at a very basic level, there's a lot of relief that Roy Moore is not going to be showing up in the U.S. Capitol come January. Democrats are now incredibly energized. They feel like they can take what happened in Alabama, the fact that Trump was on board with Moore, tie that into this national moment that we're having on sexual misconduct, and paint the Republican Party as a party that is anti-women, as a party that is willing to sacrifice values and morality to save a political seat. So they're going to go into 2018 with some momentum. Can they capitalize on it? Can they turn some of these states that they will need to turn in 2018? I think it's still an open question, but they're feeling much better coming out of Alabama than they were just a few weeks ago.